This presentation will cover Chapter 16, Breeding Deviant Conformity, the Ideology and Culture of Police. The ideology and culture of police. By centering on the processes that shape the cognitive and cultural characteristics of police officers, this chapter explores police ideology. It is notably essential to consider the processes that shape police character in order to grasp how police officers internalize values and norms when they are adapting to their profession. Based on displayed conformity to dominant social norms and values, police are chosen, and during formal and informal learning interchanges, police learn the distinct orientation of their occupational role. Thus, police are placed into a working environment after being selected and socialized, and in this environment, an ideology and shared culture that fosters unprecedented conformity to the traditional police norms and values is programmed into them in essence. Police selection techniques restrict the diversity of police. And even though these are based on impartial treatment, they contribute to an occupational culture and working ideology favorable to the exploitation of certain sections of society. Perspectives on the development of police character. To acquire a better understanding of the character and behavior of the police as an occupational group, it is instructive to consider some of the different perspectives theorists and researchers have used before examining the ideological and cultural attributes of police. 3 perspectives will be discussed as follows: psychological, sociological, and anthropological. The psychological paradigm of police character. Each person has a base personality that stays constant throughout life, according to this paradigm. A psychological orientation is accepted by many researchers, and they apply it to police officers in order to grasp how their individual personality shapes their behavior. An individual's behavior, fixed early in life and staying intact, is formed by pre-existing personality traits. Police personality. People with specific personality characteristics are interested in careers in law enforcement, and those with other personality characteristics choose other careers, according to theorists that accept this perspective. Police recruits are more authoritarian than people who go into other professions, according to the predispositional model. Individuals with an authoritarian personality are said to perceive things in black and white and have a restricted view of the world, and they are said to have conservative, aggressive, cynical, and rigid behaviors. They are defenders of the status quo. These individuals are said to be submissive to authority and intolerant of those who do not submit to authority. Because they seem to react instinctively in a conservative manner, some of these individuals have been titled reactionary conservatives. Recent research supports the authoritarian personality. The fundamental idea that police are conformist with personalities that bear a closer resemblance to the characteristics of military personnel than those from other occupations was still captured by recent research, even though this perspective has centered on positive personality characteristics of the police. The research also showed that they are more psychologically healthy as a group, and they are a more homogeneous group of people. The sociological paradigm of police character. Rejecting the concept that police have specific personality characteristics that may predetermine their behavior, many studies and social scientists accept the sociological perspective, which says behavior is based on professionalism and group socialization. As workers, their occupation, norms, and values are internalized via the process of professionalism. Occupational character is shaped via exposure to a police training academy, regular in-service training, and field experience. According to researchers that take this perspective, rookie officers are no more authoritarian than other professionals who come from similar backgrounds. If officers acquire authoritarian characteristics, it is due to the demands of the occupation and shared experiences as law enforcement officers, shaping their development of authoritarian, hard, cynical, and conservative behaviors, as they are accepted into the occupation instead of pre-existing personality or occupational experiences. The anthropological paradigm. When officers come to be part of the occupational culture, it is the most dramatic modification in police social character. To illustrate differences among social groups, the term culture is often used. People from different cultures have different beliefs, customs, morals, and other characteristics that set them apart from other social groups. From one generation to the next, these attitudes, beliefs, and values are relayed. And unique cultural identities are provided by these differences that each group holds. Within a given culture, people who make up a unique group are called members of a subculture. Members of a subculture have a separate and distinct set of values from the larger culture, while at the same time they share many values and beliefs of the larger culture. This is the difference between culture and subculture. Thus, a culturalization perspective of the police as a unique occupational subculture has been accepted by a number of scholars. The police worldview. The manner in which a culture perceives the world and its own role along with its relationship to the world is the concept of worldview. Many social groups perceive situations differently from other social or occupational groups, and this includes the police. The we, they, or us, them orientation is used to illustrate the way the police view the world. Viewed with suspicion and considered outsiders are those individuals that are not officers. Techniques used to select citizens for police service. Normative orientation contributed to the profession. Occupational danger exaggeration. The distinctive legal position police possess, and the internalized occupational self-perception are reasons for this worldview. Instruments used to screen out applicants who have not displayed their conformity to middle-class norms and values are selection practices, such as background checks, person-to-person interviews, polygraph exams, psychological tests, and physical agility tests. Choosing officers who are unable to identify with groups on the margins of traditional society is a consequence of the police personnel system. During formal training, police are further differentiated from the public, and they come to be more homogeneous in their worldview. Officers are aware that their chances of being injured, their chances of being injured are not as great as their absorption with the perception of danger, even though they perceive their work as dangerous. Distributed to police recruits at police academies in an excessive amount of attention, misinformation about the dangers of misinformations about the dangers of police work. Further reinforcing the danger notion by spending an excessive amount of time on dangerous calls, firearm skills, and officer survival, police instructors' capability to educate is restricted because most police training curricula overemphasizes the potential for death or injury. Given greater emphasis in scoring the performance of recruits, these three areas are viewed as the most substantial functions. Through war stories and field training, police vicariously experience, learn, and relearn the possibility for danger. Symbolic assailant is used to describe citizens that may be seen as possible sources of violence or enemies by the police due to the real or exaggerated sense of danger distinctive to police work, and this contributes to their worldview. Specific types of behaviors of citizens are also viewed as symbolic threats by officers. Placing emphasis on danger centers police attention on selective behaviors of certain sections of society and fosters the we-they worldview. In order to achieve the organizational goals of controlling crime and enforcing the existing social order, police too often use coercion. The authorized use of violence is one in which the police have a monopoly on. And since violence and coercion are their main instruments, it was simple for them to create a paramilitary model of training and organization. The we-they worldview of the police is reinforced by the military model, which allows for a cohesive, distinct group and encourages the perception of citizens as outsiders and enemies. And when their organizational and occupational positions change, officers frequently feel isolated from their reference group. Criticality of police function and abuse of authority. An example of abuse of authority, coercion, violence, and placing emphasis on danger involves the case of the beating of inmates at the Coahoma County Jail. Two inmates, Alonzo Wilson and Eddie Wilkins, made an attempt to escape from the jail, and they were caught on January 24, 1991. Sheriff Thompson heard of the attempted jailbreak, and he and Deputy Sheriff Tommy whipped them and other inmates repeatedly in an attempt to coerce them into telling where a tool that was to be used to break out of jail was hidden. Sheriff Thompson testified in court that he would do it again under the same circumstances, but as a last resort. Sheriff Thompson also believed he had the authority to authorize the use of force, and in his attempt to justify his behavior, he discussed how the presence of these items placed everyone in danger. The spirit of police subculture. Encompassing the distinguishing character, guiding beliefs of a person or institution and sentiments is the concept of ethos. Three general ideas come about when this concept is applied to the subculture of police. Ethos of bravery. In the social character of police, bravery is the key component, and thus the actual and perceived dangers of law are related to this concept. The requirement for support during encounters, the possibility of becoming a victim, and legitimately using violence to achieve police mandate all relate to bravery in police subculture. Ethos of autonomy. In the subculture of police, the autonomy to make decisions regarding when to arrest, whom to arrest, and when to use force is exercised. However, this can lead to abuse of discretion if personally defined justice, which is reinforced by subcultural membership, is used. Ethos of secrecy. This is the concept of no reporting on a fellow officer who uses the extreme view of the right to use force, and support for officers who use mild illegal coercion. The fear of loss of autonomy and authority in external groups is often the reason for the police code of secrecy, and the split-second syndrome is another component supporting the reason for the police code of secrecy. In this concept, policing has the possibility for mistakes and is fraught. Often called upon to make split-second decisions, police feel that these decisions can be reviewed by others not directly involved in policing. This code of secrecy can also leave room to justify needless police violence. Police perception of the media and their investigative functions are reasons for the code of secrecy also. Preventing the release of an officer's name when he or she is under investigation is governed by the media information restrictions in Illinois. These restrictions protect from bogus claims, and this protection is not available to the public. The wall of silence is reinforced by these restrictions. Related to the cultural themes in policing. Related to the dynamic affirmations and maintained by its members is the concept of themes. The structure and quality of the group's social interactions are in part shaped by themes. Making it harder for members of one social group to have relationships and interact with members of another group is an emotional and physical condition called isolation. A logical result of the interaction of the police worldview and ethos of secrecy is social isolation, which is the theme of police subculture. Anyone that is outside of this isolated police subculture is viewed as a possible threat to the individuals within their group. A need for insulation from perceived dangers and rejection by the community was the traditional theme of police solidarity and loyalty. However, the socialization process is fundamental to the subculture of police work, may be said to result in police solidarity. Postulates of police culture. The basic orientations of a group are reflected in statements or expressions of general principles that guide the actions of members of a subculture. These are known as postulates. These are important in not only shaping shared understandings of unacceptable behaviors, but also in shaping attitudes, beliefs, and values of police officers. Postulates shaping the ethos of secrecy and the theme of solidarity. Don't give up another cop. Watch out for your partner first, then the rest of the guys working that tour. If you get caught off base, don't implicate anybody else. Postulates supporting police isolations. Don't trust a new guy until you have him checked out. Don't trust bosses to look out for your interest. Don't talk too little or too much, and don't tell anybody more than they have to know. Postulates indicative of ethos of bravery. Show balls. Be aggressive when you have to, but don't be too eager. While serving as reinforcers of the police worldview, these postulates act as part of the member socialization process of the police occupation. Those who do not conform to these postulates become outcast and lose group membership benefits. And this concludes the Chapter 16 presentation.